Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Sultanate continues its political efforts to find a breakthrough for the crisis in Yemen. 5 specialized medical programs in the Sultanate obtain accreditation from the International Accreditation Council for Higher Medical Education. And all the municipality slaughterhouses around the Sultanate complete their preparations to receive Eid al-Adha sacrifices. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Dr. George Ivanov of Macedonia on his country's National Day. The Sultanate continues its political efforts to find a breakthrough for the crisis in Yemen, affirming its obligation to find a peaceful solution for the crisis and end the war. This stance was internationally received with commendation by the United Nations, which stressed Muscat's role in resolving many issues among conflicting Yemeni parties. The unlimited support accorded by His Majesty the Sultan and the Sultanate's commitment to neutrality and its humanitarian role were factors that pushed forward the Yemeni crisis talks, according to the UN. Since the eruption of war in Yemen in 2015, Muscat distanced itself from participation in any military intervention in the neighboring Yemen, resorting to the voice of reason, which affirms that there is no victor in this war. However, the Sultanate's neutrality did not prevent it from exerting all efforts to mitigate the ravages of war on people. It also lined up with good efforts which resorted to peace. The Sultanate also defended its firm stance in the meetings and negotiations hosted by some Arab and foreign capitals, supporting the peaceful solution for the crisis in Yemen. Although relative success was adhered by the Yemeni talks in Kuwait last July, humanitarian and security issues are still unsolved between the two sides of the conflict. The Sultanate was aware of that and sought to achieve a progress during the last period. It succeeded in organizing a meeting in Muscat between UN envoy to Yemen, an Ansarullah group, and the General Popular Congress Party. The sides of the meeting affirmed that they achieved positive results on those issues, which will be conveyed by the UN envoy to the Yemeni government for consultation. The UN envoy affirmed that the current aim is to push forward the Yemeni negotiation from the discussion stage to the implementation stage of the discussions of the Gulf Initiative for solving the Yemeni crisis and UN Resolution number 2216. Meanwhile, the Sultanate is seeking to prepare all Yemeni conflicting parties for an upcoming negotiation round, and most importantly, a round that ends with a peace agreement. The devastating human situation in Yemen represented a priority for the Sultanate's government in parallel with resolving the political situation. The Sultanate established a humanitarian air bridge with Yemen, which helped to transfer war casualties without any discrimination among conflicting parties. This humanitarian air bridge also assisted in releasing a number of foreign detainees in Yemen because of the conflict there. Oman Medical Specialty Board obtained the international accreditation to 5 specialized medical programs from the International Accreditation Council for Higher Medical Education in USA. The accredited programs included general surgery, X-ray, pediatrics, internal medicine, and emergency medicine, out of 18 training programs that the Council is seeking to internationally endorse them in its plan to train and qualify Omani doctors. For more details on this topic, with us online is Professor Naila Al-Lemki, Vice President for Academic Affairs. Ms. Naila, welcome to our news.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure having you. Ms. Naila, what are the standards based on this international accreditation?
The standards are based on how the training of the physicians or the young doctors in Oman should be done, and they're based on the American standards. In the United States, the training programs have to follow certain standards, a certain way of training and updating the training and assessment of the doctors.
Excellent. And to what extent is the accreditation of these 5 programs important in terms of the medical performance?
So if we train our young physicians or young doctors to certain standards, that will improve the health care of our Omani community.
Excellent. And with this accreditation, what are the responsibilities of the board in the training mentioned in your plan?
The board first had to be accredited by the same ACGME standards, that we have institutional policies that help to make sure that our hospitals follow the standards, our trainers or our consultants and specialists follow the standards, and the hospitals are accredited. And this allows our young physicians to be trained to the same standards as in America.
Thank you, Professor Naila Al-Lemki. Congratulations with more success. Thank you. The Ministry of Transport and Communications achieved Quality Management ISO certificate from International Certification Office as a result of its commitment to the standards of strategic planning, performance assessment reward, and accountability principles by the Ministry. Efforts were exerted by the Ministry's employees to finalize around 80% of procedures and processes and transfer them to electronic systems that qualify them to have the ISO certificate. The handing over ceremony of the certificate was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Fataisi, Minister of Transport and Communications. The move put the ministry among government bodies that succeeded in achieving the Sultanate's approach on establishing foundations of e-government. Along with achieving this certificate, the ministry is following up the implementation of many projects, top of which are in the logistics sector, which is expected to contribute with 14 billion Omani riyals in the gross domestic product in the upcoming period. The number of citizens using public transport buses increased by 20% during the second quarter of the current year. The Oman National Transport Company Muwasalat has various investment plans in the upcoming period, where around 118 new buses will be added to the company fleet, including 85 buses for inside city routes, 33 buses for outside city routes, and for other cities as well. The company is currently focusing on the main routes to establish strong network, as the focus will later shift to sub-roads. Since the launch in November 2015, the company transported 1.2 million passengers, an average of 10,000 passengers per day, which is a good indication of the company's success. Exchanging visits of media delegations between the Sultanate and China was the most important topic discussed at the session of talks between His Excellency Abdul Mun'im bin Mansour Lahsani, Minister of Information, with his Chinese counterpart, His Excellency Jiang Qian, at the media office of the Chinese Council of the Ministers in Beijing. During this session, the two sides discussed field of cooperation between the two friendly countries and ways of developing them, and agreed on benefiting from their media experiences. The Omani delegation met senior officials of the Chinese news agency Xinhua. The delegation also visited Chinese Central Television Station and met with elite Chinese personalities, intellectuals, and media men, where they were briefed about the Sultanate and the attention towards the unique cultural activity in China. Still to come in our news bulletin. The Department of Sports Affairs in the Governorate of Dakhiliya concludes the youth program for the current year. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. All the municipality slaughterhouses around the Sultanate completed their preparations to receive Eid al-Adha sacrifices. In the governorate of Muscat, the new slaughterhouses in Al-Ma'bila and Al-Amrat were equipped with all the latest technologies and tools, while the focus is to keep the environment clean and healthy, with the veterinary monitoring also being available. The municipality urges the citizens to benefit for the services of its slaughterhouses during the Eid days so as to avoid infectious diseases such as Crimean fever. The volume of real estate trading in the governorate of Brahimi amounted to more than 32 million Omani riyals during the first half of the current year, with a decrease of 39% compared to the same period last year. The Directorate General of Housing in the governorate of Brahimi finalized more than 3,000 transactions related to real estate activities. This decline in real estate activity in the governorate was attributed to the effect of global oil price decline, but some areas with complete services in the governorate were not affected. Mortgage transactions topped the Real Estate Legal Act at the value of more than 24 million riyals, followed by sale transactions with more than 7 million Omani riyals. Oman Telecommunications Company received a new offer for purchasing its shares in WorldCall Telecom of Pakistan after a month of announcing it could not reach an agreement with another Pakistani investor. Omantel owns controlling share in WorldCall Telecom, amounting to 57%, in which around 72 million Omani riyals was paid in order to find an added value for Omantel shareholders through new sources of income in outside markets, in light of the impact expected to liberalize the telecommunications sector in the Sultanate on the market share of the company and its ability to strengthen its revenues in the local market. Shedding light on Oman Commission for Human Rights and its role in delivering the message of human rights to the society topped discussions at the awareness gathering on human rights, which was organized by the Morale Guidance at Sultan's Armed Forces. The gathering included lectures given by the Commission on its missions and its role in tracking humanitarian issues and the extent of its interaction with the regional and international developments in this field, besides the Sultanate's efforts in boosting and spreading the culture of human rights. Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of Sultan's Armed Forces, presided over the gathering. The Department of Sports Affairs in the Governorate of Dakhiliya held a ceremony to conclude the youth program for the current year. It came to shed light on the importance of the program to occupy the youth during their free times in useful activities, as well as instill the good values among them, so as to serve the community and encourage voluntary work. This year's program witnessed a number of activities including sports, culture, science, and others. The accompanying exhibition of the ceremony came to support the local products. The Eid Habta, or market in the Niyaba of Tiwi in the Wilaya of Sour at the Governorate of South Sharqiya, witnesses an active movement during these days, as the citizens flock to the market to buy all the necessary goods and items, including cloth, children's toys, meat, Omani halwa, and other items for the blessed Eid al-Adha. A launching ceremony was held for a booklet on the advantages of sponsorship of World Military Football Club today. More details in the following report.
The second season World Football Cup is considered a major and important sports event that will be hosted by the Sultanate during January in 2017.
Very well organized. Exciting, I think, as well for Oman to host such an event. Looking forward to talking more with the organisers to maybe how we can be involved in this. We're a big sponsor at the moment and supplier to the MOD here in Oman, and we understand what a great job they do, and we want to continue to be a part of that with them in the future.
The ceremony of launching the booklet, The Advantages of Sponsors, comes to market the second season World Football Cup and to establish a fruitful integration between the Sultan's armed forces, the private sector and the media in order to promote the achievements of our beloved homeland.
Not only about this event, as you know, Suhail Bhawan Group has been very closely associated with the Ministry of Defense for a long, long time. And we have been very supportive. We believe in the defense and the defense forces of the country. We have been very supportive, and inshallah we'll continue to support to the best of our ability.
The private sector and the media play important roles in the national development and constitute the cornerstone towards accelerating the aspiration of our society. The directives of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, have always emphasized the importance of social responsibility, cooperation and integration between all sectors in the Sultanate in order to achieve the national objectives.
And it's a great honour to be involved in such a great event for the country. The event today has been really well organised. It's a nice launch for everything to kickstart. With the event still many weeks away, it's great opportunities for companies to get involved and help support the event that will be supported by many people around the country and will, I'm sure, be broadcast right around the world, promoting Oman as a beautiful country such that it is to the whole of the world.
The Sultanate has been voted to host this championship due to its sports capabilities in terms of facilities and professionalism in organizing such events. In addition, its distinctive achievements in the first version of the tournament, as well as the successful hosting and organizing of the Asian Qualifiers 2013, of which the Sultanate has been praised by the Council of International Military Sport. The inauguration ceremony of the Advantages of the Sponsors booklet comes to emphasize the importance of this major sports events for the Sultanate and how important it is to integrate all efforts, including social responsibility and media, to make this championship a successful national event. Lieutenant Nasser bin Khamis Al-Kalbani, Muscat.
A number of areas in the governorate of Brahimi witnessed rains with various intensity accompanied by active wind. In the wilaya of Mahda, heavy rains fell which caused a number of wadis and their tributaries to overflow. Some eastern areas of the governorate also witnessed moderate to light rainfall. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the governorate of Dhofar with chances of scattered rains. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with cloud accumulation and scattered rainfall over the Hajar Mountains. Low clouds and fog late at night and early morning are expected over most of the coastal areas. Winds will be easterly to northeasterly light to moderate over the coast of the Sea of Oman, while on the coastal areas of the Arabian Sea, it will be southwesterly moderate to active. Seas will be rough along the coast of the Arabian Sea with a maximum wave height of 4 meters and moderate along the rest of the coast with a maximum wave height of 2 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate continues its political efforts to find a breakthrough for the crisis in Yemen. 5 specialized medical programs in the Sultanate obtain accreditation from the International Accreditation Council for Higher Medical Education. And all the municipality slaughterhouses around the Sultanate complete their preparations to receive Eid al-Adha sacrifices. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.